good, everybody? So today I'm going to be talking about the Gilded Night Market event. Yes, this has caused quite a little bit of a scene on the internet today. People are calling it a secret, a hidden, a predatory secret spending event. Ooh, the big bad word, spending events. The same thing that a lot of us criticized Hoyoverse for with Honkai Star Rail with their anniversary patch. Let's not forget. So I'm going to dive in, quickly explain how this Gilded Night Market works, whether or not we can actually consider it a spending event, and then going over your guys' opinions and your thoughts and feelings on this. And of course, I'm going to give my take as well.
You serious?
So here we are, we're in the Gilded Night Market. Now, how, Cap, does this work, you might ask? Well, I'm sure a lot of you have seen this already. We have a bunch of rewards here. Everything from Radiant Tides to modifiers, tuners, to even Echo XP. And the way to obtain these rewards is to use a thing called special tokens, this little thing right here. And how might you obtain special tokens, you may ask? You click this button here, and it takes you to a screen where you have 3 different methods to obtain them. Number 1, activity tasks. Activity tasks are simply play the events. It's completely free to play. You can play the events and get all the tokens possible. Now, how many special tokens do you get from just doing the activity tasks, you may ask? Well, lucky for you, I have made a spreadsheet. Yes, I have. I'm becoming a spreadsheet nerd, and I am putting some information out there into the world for you guys. Okay, so for activity tasks, you can get 900 tokens just simply by playing the event. For Resonator Convenes, this is as you would expect. You actually have to do pulls, and depending on how many pulls you do, you get a certain amount of tokens. And I have calculated, if you do 90 pulls on the Resonator Convene, you can get 1,400 tokens. And the same thing for the Weapon Convene. If you do 90 pulls, you can get 1,400 tokens also. Bringing you to a total, if you do all the activity tasks, pull 90 times on the character banner, pull 90 times on the weapon banner, you can get 3,700 total tokens. Now, I have also calculated how many special tokens do you need to get all the useful things. Now, when I say useful items, I'm talking about Radiant Tides, your modifiers, all the Echo Tuners, the premium supply crates, the weekly supply pack, which has all the weekly boss materials in, and obviously your Echo Tubes. I'm not caring about the Phantom stuff or the projections or shell credits, kind of whatever. Doesn't really matter. All the useful level up, ascension, material items, weapon things, all that good stuff. How many tokens do you need total to do that? Well, according to my quick maths, again, this is my quick maths. I may have done this wrong. If so, that's pretty bad of me. But if someone will put it out, I'll admit my fault. But I've calculated 5,200 tokens in order to get everything useful in this shop. So you might be thinking, damn, that's a bit of a discrepancy, isn't it? That's a bit of a discrepancy. I've done like what, 180 pulls, 90 from the character, 90 from the weapon. I've done all my activity tasks and I still can't get all the, materials that I need. And I would say, yes, that's really what is happening here. It won't be enough to get all these things, but it's not as bad as it seems. Well, I say that. If you're actually wondering, okay, how many pulls do I have to get in order to be able to get all the useful items in here? I'm just gonna keep it brief. Yeah, you're gonna need to do an extra 160 pulls. You're gonna need to do an extra 160 pulls. And the reason why it's so high is because of the repeatable thing here, right? The repeatable thing is, so if you obviously do 90 pulls total, right? You're gonna hit this 2 times, right? You're gonna hit 40 twice. You're gonna get 800 tokens, right? And then you have another 5 repeats that you can do. You have another 5 repeats you can do, and obviously for weapons, if you hit 90, you've got 1 more repeat that you can do, right? But in order to get the extra like 1,500 tokens that you need, you're gonna need to do an extra 160 pulls, either 40 more from the weapon, which isn't gonna guarantee another weapon necessarily, or you have to do another 40 pulls times 4 times 4 in the Resonator Convene. So 160 extra pulls across all of them to get the enough tokens to do everything in the night market. Now, you might be thinking, oh my god, that's crazy. That's so many pulls. That's like what? 340, how many is it? 340 pulls in total to get everything in the night market. And yeah, it's a lot of pulls, but you have to bear in mind, you don't need everything here from the night market, right? Weekly challenge packs. Again, these are weekly farmable items. Forgery premium supply. These are also farmable items. If you're not wanting to, farm and put the time in, these are just quick ways to get materials, right? Modifiers aren't something that you need. Again, they just speed up the farming process. So, a lot of these items are, not an absolute necessity, but they do help an account a lot. Now, I think the Gilded Night Market is going to be most useful for, one, new players or returning players, because those are people who are going to have a lot of initial pulls or a lot of initial pull potential. Don't forget, if you're a new player, you've got new player events, you've got a lot of the compensation rewards, and also you've got a lot of exploration and past events to catch up on to get a lot of pulls. So people who are starting the game for the first time are going to end up with a lot of pulls. They'll probably do it during the anniversary where there's every resonator kind of available for you to pick from, and you're able to level them a lot quicker to kind of, get a foot in the door and really kind of get going. So is this a spending event? I wouldn't call it a spending event in the same way we might label other gacha games. For me, this really seems like an event not tailor-made, but geared more towards that new player or returning player experience to get you up to speed. I don't think anyone who is logging in every day is going to see really high value from like a weekly challenge supply pack, for example, because most of those people are going to be doing their weeklies anyway. They have no need to overcap on a boss material, right? So a lot of these things aren't really applicable to the daily player or those who really grind out and heavy farm and like to min-max the game. So you don't need to worry about it. And I really don't think it is a predatory quote-unquote spending event. I don't think it's, something that's as negative or as scary as people are making it out to be. I feel most people are probably going to be pulling on a character, pulling on a weapon. We're going to get enough pulls and enough tokens to get all your tides and get everything that is useful and relevant for you. And that's really it. I don't think this is something to particularly worry about, but it does also, let's not forget, just because it's not really bad right now doesn't mean it has potential to not be bad in the future. This really has let Kuro put a foot in the door for maybe a bigger spending event in the future. So we just have to make sure that these quote-unquote events don't become more, let's say, intense in the future. This is something I'm okay with and I can tolerate. And I'm like, okay, this is fine. This isn't anything, bad or outrageous. But if it became, something a lot more than that, offering way more pulls or way more tuners or something like that for the pulls, then I'm going to be like, okay, this is a little bit worrying. But I think this is something to keep an eye on with Kuro, the way that they've been engaging a lot of their practices, having characters being super synergistic with each other to an extreme degree, paired with an event like this they're really putting their foot in the door and they're testing the waters to see how much they can probably get away with. So while I don't think this is bad per se, it's something to keep an eye on in the future. So that's really my take on this. I believe I put a tweet out actually asking people for their opinions on the Gilded Night Market. I'm gonna see the comments real quick. Let's see the comments real quick on this event. Here we go. Yippee! Yippee yippee. Screws people who were saving over, not really a fan. You only get 900 tokens if you don't ever pull on this patch. Most like though, people be pulling, but it does feel like they're forcing you to pull to complete the event. I want to get all the limited pulls from the event, but I'll be punished if I get lucky with my pulls for Chacona. I didn't look into too deep because I thought the challenge quest was enough to get the good shit. If not, that's kinda cringe. The definitive answer, only whale players can complete it. We savers can only take 2 yellow balls and leave the rest as is. Yeah, if you're not pulling on this anniversary, it's kinda ass. Yeah, if you're not doing any pulls in the anniversary banner, that's kinda ass, but I'll be real, I don't know that's really going to apply if you're saving for Cardathea or you're going to pull for Chicona. This is why I'm saying it's way more geared towards the returning or new players more than anything. It's a gacha game. The game itself is a spending event. Need to check this myself, but does sound pretty cringe. If it's just the cosmetics, whatever, but 34 sounds like way too much to be just that. Not a good look. Lackluster at best, getting some tokens is easy while others require you to use your pulls on banners. I think that the rewards are nice, but the way it's been implemented it feels wrong and not thought out. So a lot of people obviously are having some criticisms towards this Gilded Night Market event, but I do think it's not as bad as people make it out to be, simply because, like I said, a lot of the resources that it's offering are things that are farmable or easily obtainable. So it's not something that we're like, quote unquote, missing out on. It's more like a progress booster more than anything. So that's really my take on the Gilded Night Market. Something to keep an eye on, but not something that is devastating to the game right about now. But that's really all I gotta say. I'm live every single day on Twitch, twitch.tv Cabinetz, links in pinned comment. Make sure to like and subscribe. Do it now, or I'll take your pengus away. I'll twist it off, okay? I appreciate y'all. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.